Hello there, and welcome back to the Codex. So, we all love doing our weekly Netracells, or maybe you don't love it, but you love the rewards you can get from Netracells, and you want to get in and get out as fast as possible, because we want to get these Archon Shards and these Legendary Arcanes, and maybe some of you, if you're crazy, want to get Melee Arcane Adapters. So depending on where you are in the game, you're doing anywhere from 5 down to, with this new Temporal Archimedia coming out, only one of these Netracells a week. But you're going to be at least doing one. So you want to get in and get out and get those rewards super quickly. The problem with that is that if you've done Netracells, you know that you get to the actual mission where you start the kill phase, and you have to stay inside the circle to kill enemies. Now, you're able to kill enemies that are outside of the circle, as long as you're inside of it, but that still means that the quickest you can kill them is when they first get into your line of sight. But what if you didn't have to wait until you could see them? That is where Cyte comes into play. Cyte's first ability, Seek, basically gives you wall hack. You aim it down, you place it down rather, in the direction that it's aiming in. It highlights enemy weak points through walls, and with enough range, it has a insanely long radius. So you basically turn into a wall hack aimbot CSGO cheater. Now, we're going to be using a unique Acid Shells Electric Proc Sobek build for this, and part of it doing really crazy damage is you do want to have these ideally Tau Forged Violet Shards, so this is high investment, but again, this is about speedrunning Netracells, so hopefully by this point in the game, you're willing to do a little bit more investment. So if you can afford this, slap on some of these Tau Forged or even regular Violet Shards and select the extra electric damage to primaries. The reason why that's really important is because on the build here, we're doing a Acid Shells build with a cleanse mod for Cleanse Marbor to double dip all the dots that we do, and Shotgun Elementalist for the dots. But you see in this build here, we don't have electric that I mentioned. Aside from, we do have an electric mod on, but we don't actually have electric damage modded onto the weapon. What we do have is Cyte's second ability, Resupply, which is basically like a Omni-Elemental version of Saren's Toxic Lash or Zaku's Zada's Whisper, where it takes a percent of your total damage, gives it to you as a extra secondary hit with guaranteed status chance of whatever element you pick. So if we pick electric damage, then all of a sudden this Acid Shells build is exploding in the Acid Shells AoE and also propagating chaining electric procs. So it's super, super potent at nuking crowds of guys through walls. Now on the Cyte build itself here, this is what we're looking at. So if for the Exilus, we have Preparation, because for Netracells, you're not allowed to spam energy pads. So pairing this, starting off with max energy, with Energy Nexus giving you 3 per second, and that Energy Nexus being multiplied by having Nourish on, you typically have good enough energy sustain to get through the mission without any real issue, even though you are nuking enemies so far away that you're not going to get a lot of orb drops. That's why we really want to rely on that Nourish multiplier plus Energy Nexus, and the extra viral damage also scales up Resupply, which is a nice little bonus. Now, the two main stats here are Duration and Strength. Strength, of course, to beef up the amount of damage that the Resupply Electric Shot does, and Duration so that we can keep primarily our Seek out for a long time and to keep that Nourish up. It'll also help out with staying invisible from Evade. So we have a decent Duration, decent range, decent Strength, and we actually have more Duration that's listed here because there's another 36% Duration that you get from Multificiency as long as you have shields, and our Strength is actually up to 300% because of Molt Augmented after you get 60 kills. So it's a real nice build here. Now, you can see there's no real defensive mods on. The main thing that we're going to be surviving from is 3 factors. 1, we're just going to be nuking enemies so fast with the Sobek that most of them can't get to us. 2, whenever you're invisible, that will be another defensive layer because they just simply can't see you. And 3, we threw on Catalyzing Shields here. That way, since our abilities are fairly expensive thanks to Blind Rage, plus we have Brief Respite, an Augur mod here, and 2 Augur mods on the secondary that you should bring, which is just literally any secondary with the 2 secondary Augur mods. We get a lot of shields back from using abilities. So even if you don't need to refill your ammo with Resupply, use Resupply basically as a shield restore ability spam for Catalyzing Shields, and you'll see in the run that we're about to do that it easily keeps you alive. Just keep that shield gate going. Because even though we have 43 shields, you get a full 1.3 second shield gate because Catalyzing Shields converts those shields into 1.33 instead of the usual amount of gate that you would get for that amount. So it's really, really nice. So now let's go ahead and hop into a mission and show you how fast you can speedrun this. Actually, one quick note here, editing codex here, I'm going to add this in. I did forget to mention a couple more factors. You also want to use, ideally, the Praetos for the parkour velocity, along with the last shard is parkour velocity. That way you can get to the kill phase of the mission faster, you know, skip through the hacking the terminal phase at the beginning and whatnot. And for companions, basically just use any companion that can help you stay alive. I threw in this Death Cube with Guardian and Shield Charger, so that's just a little bit more of shield getting utility if enemies actually do get close to you, along with Coolant Leak will apply cold stacks to them. And then on the Tacticore here, I have it priming cold procs with Shivering Contagion, so again, that's more crowd control on anybody that actually does make it out of their spawns, basically, thanks to my wall hack nuking. So with that, now let's go ahead and hop into the mission. Alright, so here we are in the Netracell. Just go ahead and grab these real quick, all these 4 negative modifiers you have to put on yourself. It doesn't matter what they are, because you have to grab them anyway, so there's no reason to waste time reading them. Go ahead and pop that Nourish and pop that Evade. Now, thanks to the combination of Nourish and Energy Nexus, we're going to have pretty good energy economy, to be honest, especially after we stack up Augmented. And you can also get the extra strength bonus from your Matter Eye Sling, of course. Now, you don't need to actually hack these computers. These just narrow down the exact location where the vault is. Once you kind of learn the tile set, you can actually skip these, just run straight to the farthest one, and kind of get a sense of where the vault is going to spawn. And once you learn the general tile rotation effectively. So, for example, I'm actually going to skip this second monitor, run straight to this third one, because I know for a fact that the vault is always closest to the third one. And with 2 out of 3 hacked, typically you can get a good enough sense of where the vault is. Let's go ahead and operator dash over there. Oh, got myself a little turned around on accident. There we go. So this is probably over here. So let's go ahead and run over here and find this vault real quick. Yeah, I'm willing to bet it's right here. Yep. So you can see, you can kind of get a sense. So I'm inside the circle. Go ahead and pop your abilities. Put down the electric. Put down your first 2 here. And then just start murking everything, basically. Make sure you keep popping your abilities even when you don't necessarily need to refresh them to benefit from that shield gate, because that's going to be the main thing keeping you alive here, is that catalyzing shield gate. Especially when you have a bunch of damaging negative modifiers on you, like the void explosions that are constantly blowing up around me right now. Those are definitely going to try and kill me. But thanks to Energy Nexus and Nourish, like I said, you'll typically be fine. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and pop this here. And just wait for the enemies to come, basically. We're already down to about 80%. Once we get down to 65-ish%, we're going to see the first Necromite. That's still going to be the slowest part of this mission, unfortunately, because it seems like they, for some reason, actually don't show up through the walls. Oh, but thankfully this one is super close. It is right there, and we're already done. Go ahead and turn invisible again. And just keep blasting. You can see it's very effective for being a solo strategy. If you want to make this really crazy fast, and if you have at least one other person you could bring a second player playing as a speed Nova, so that way you could rush all the enemies towards a circle, and they would get into the site's scan range even faster, basically, so you would just be able to see them through walls more quickly. And they would also take double damage from that, so just another multiplier in how fast this would go. You see, we're already down below 50%. Let's go ahead and repop my abilities here. Ooh, that was a little hairy. Like I said, make sure you're shield getting, otherwise you will go down. You will absolutely go down here. You really want to rely on that Nourish and that Nexus to keep your energy going, because you're killing enemies from so far away that you're not getting energy orb drops a lot of the time. And turn your invisibility on whenever it's off cooldown, of course. That's another good defensive layer, is them just not being able to see you. Alright, gotta go kill the Necromite again. This one's kind of a little chip away, it seems. I do wish I could just snipe them through walls. Oh, he's right here, isn't he? Yep. Then just run back. This is why it's good to have that parkour velocity shard on plus the Praetos, so you can really move around fast. I'm gonna go ahead and double dash my way back to activate that Materai bonus. So Nourish, there's my ammo pack again. Let me repop my scanning ability. Yeah, we're down to the last 25% here, so we got the enhanced enemy danger, supposedly. Although you'll notice there's still a complete joke, so it's a bit of a meme. We are almost there. It's especially nice when you get a nice, really close, clumped up group enemy spawn, because then those electric procs really multi-stack and multi-hit that group, and they all just explode, and the percent really drops down fast. We are almost done. It's the final count. There we go, we're done. Go ahead and get in that vault. Run, baby, run. You can activate that evade again. Actually, you should activate evade once you get out of the vault. That way, I just wasted a little bit of duration there, basically. Shoot that, and let's get out of here. Looks like extraction is 300 meters away. Let's get some operator dashes going. Not into the wall, please.
That could still come in handy.
And hopefully it's sub 5 minutes. Let's see here. So that was a solo run, and it was... Now, it wasn't sub 5. Last time I did it was sub 5, but still, that was sub 6 minutes, which solo is super fast. I see most team setups still taking 8 to 12 minutes doing this, and even super fast solo setups is typically considered around 6 minutes, for example. Depending on the map that you get and how fast you go and, you know, not making mistakes, you can easily do this in less than 5 minutes. The first one that I did, I believe, was around 4:45. So this is a great strategy for solo speedrunning Netracells. If you guys liked it, let me know down below. Try it out. If you have any tweaks to this build that you might make, like, you know, slightly different mod selection, for example, or maybe you would change something on the Sobek, or maybe a different helmet ability, let me know. I'm curious as to what you guys would do to try to tune this up even more to speedrun these Netracells. And with that, guys, I'll see you in the next one.